All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Perez. I'm a Cambridge College student. I'm studying to be a radiographic technologist. And before I begin, let me introduce you to my audience member. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. First off, let me thank everyone by allowing me to speak today. And hopefully everyone takes something out of this and learns something new. All right, so today I'm be presenting radiation protection, the importance in maintaining a good practice of radiation protection. All right, I'm gonna be discussing the types of radiation that you're exposed to daily that you might not even know. The first type is cosmic radiation. This cosmic radiation comes from our solar system, from the sun in the form of UV light. So people who like to sunbathe and receive tans, you're getting this UV radiation to your body, and you can eventually develop skin cancer in that form. It's a very common cancer, so and that's what causes it, UV. All right. So moving on, next is terrestrial radiation. Terrestrial radiation comes from Earth, and that's from radioactive materials in Earth. And we could be exposed to that daily too. Things like uranium or radon that leaks out and you're exposed to it. These are low level energies and they don't have a great effect on your bodies. So the next one I would like to discuss is man-made radiation. Man-made radiation are things like radiation therapy, X-rays, or even tanning beds with the UV lights. And the difference between those and the others, this kind can be ionizing radiation, where it removes an electron from an atom, causing it to be unstable. The atom could be unstable, cause it to die if it can't repair itself, and this could happen in your DNA and your cells. So, grasping the importance of how you're exposed to radiation daily, you got to know the effects that it has on your body and how your body is constantly trying to repair itself from radiation. So one of these effects that happens on your body is cancer. And cancer can develop from radiation, and it could happen in a set amount of time. It could happen years from now. It can happen weeks from now. It can happen in your first X-ray. It can happen in 10 X-rays. There's no threshold of how many X-rays it takes to develop cancer. That's why it's important to keep your dose minimum. The next kind of effect that can happen from radiation is our genetic hereditary effects. And this kind of effect is where you eventually you might not have the effects of it yourself. You might not develop cancer, but you can pass this gene on to your offspring. You can pass this gene on to your children from the radiation. Another thing is from being overexposed to radiation to your sensitive organs, things like your thyroids, your eyes, or your gonads. Specifically your gonads for male and female, it can cause you to be infertile or sterile, which you won't be able to have children. It can be temporary, it can be permanent. And if you're lucky enough that it's temporary, you can still have the chance of having the genetic hereditary effect where you pass the gene on to your children. So knowing the effects of radiation to your body, you want to know how to protect yourself. You want to know how to protect your patient. It's important that you protect your patient because they're not aware of the damages of radiation. They don't know how to protect themselves. They're not knowledgeable on the things that you're supposed to be going into X-rays. So the first way that you can protect your patient is by knowing your techniques, your how much radiation you're going to expose your patient to, how to get that proper image by using your technique, and to keep their absorbed dose low. So you want to use a KVP, a high energy, so it passes through. The next form is making sure you're shielding your patients. Make sure you're protecting these sensitive organs by a shield, which would be half of this one, where you protect each of their sensitive organs. So this will cover their gonads. You could cover their thyroids, or you give them lead-lined glasses, which would protect their eyes. Another form that you need to know is that you need to know your position. You need to be knowledgeable on your positioning, so you're not repeating your exam on the patient and re-radiating them, giving them more exposure, giving them more radiation. So to protect yourself, you need to know that this same apron here is for you. So if you're in there with your patient and you have to be in there, you keep this on. You protect your thyroids. You protect yourself. You protect your sensitive organs. Another thing is time and distance. You want to stay as far away from this X-ray beam as possible. You want to stay away from this ionizing radiation. You want to stay away from it, and you want to spend minimum time being in that area. The longer you're there, the more you get. Another thing is that you want to monitor how much radiation you're getting. Use your dosimeter like this one here, where when you're exposed, it absorbs it, and you send this to the company every month, and they tell you how much exposure you receive, how much radiation you receive. That's very important too. So you're keeping track of how much radiation you're getting. You're keeping track of how much damage this can take into your body. So knowing that you're exposed daily, knowing the damaging effects that it can take on your body, knowing how to protect yourself, and just having that general knowledge is important. You got to know radiation protection. You have to know how to protect your patient. You have to know where it's coming from. You got to know what damages it has on your body, and most important, just protect yourself as well, because you can go through your whole occupation, develop things that you don't want. You don't want cancer. You don't want to pass this to your children. And remember that you don't see these effects happening. This is not something that you see happening or going on. If you've seen those damages happening right in front of your eyes, you would take this more seriously. You would protect